Alright! Hello, Void Dweller, James, Apparition, and Oe! Welcome back to Higanbana! Alright, so last time the plot moved a lot faster than I expected. And Marie was able to defeat that motherfucking twisted son of a bitch. He got ground up into a tiny ball and squished up. Oh, it was so great. So great. And now she's officially one of the yokai of the school. And she wanted to make friends with Higanbana, who had some reservations, are you sure you want to be friends with me? And things like that. I really want to see what her story is. We'll probably learn maybe she used to be a human too. I wonder. Well, without further ado, let's get back into it. See where story 2 leads. The spirit camera. Okay. I guess saves, I guess saves are just per chapter, I guess. Oh! Hello, Ji-chan! Yes, you made it just in time! Right! So glad you could be here. Oh, yes, good luck with your classes, James. Hello, Eternal Magician! Welcome to the streams! Oh, my dweller! Anyway, let's continue. Same slots for different episodes. Thanks, Oe. This is the strange story of how, with the reorganization of their local school, the students took pride in the new, larger building, as well as how the residents' 7 school mysteries also grew by one. Oh. Okay, so I guess he's the human protagonist for this one. Hello, Angie Castle. I know what voice I'm going to use for him already. The tale of how Takeshi no Namiya got his hands on another Takeshi! Oh my god, I just realized. We have double Takeshis. Yes, Chi-chan. Yare yare. Hello, Neagles. Welcome to the stream. The tale of how Takeshi no Namiya got his hands on a camera begins many years ago with an incident that happened in the science prep room. This week, his group had the duty of cleaning the science lab and science prep room. The science prep room was by far the more interesting of the two, as it was full of strange things. And because of that, it was popular among the students. That day he had earned the right to clean the science prep room after winning a round of rock, paper, scissors. That's right, in Japan, the kids clean the school. There were a few students who did the cleaning diligently, but there were also many who just used the time to goof off. Ji-chan, no, you're way too nice! That day as well, there was a group of girls skipping and chasing each other around all through the lab, science prep room, and even out into the hallways. By chance, at that time, he was all by himself. He had finished sweeping, and was flustered to notice he was the only one still cleaning, so he was about to go call for some of his buddies in the group. By the way, I just want to make sure, can you guys hear me okay? Am I too soft? Or is the music too loud? Again, the group of girls, giggling all the while, chased each other around through the lab, out of the prep room, and back into the hall. At that time, the last girl of the group happened to bump into the human anatomy dummy with her shoulder, sending it crashing to the floor. Uh-oh. I wonder if that represents a yokai. It hit the floor with such force that it broke, its pieces scattering here and there. Just by looking at it, he could tell it could not be more horribly broken beyond repair. She and he paused for a moment, dumbfounded by what had happened. Then their eyes met. To Takeshi no Namiya, it was just an accident that had occurred right before his eyes. He had no desire to cheer or panic. At the very least, since he wasn't the culprit himself, he felt pity on the girl. Considering how she would apologize to the teachers and how angry they would be. But after giving him an uncomfortable look, the girl fled back to the corridor. Hello, Lambda Delta. Welcome to the stream. Then she resumed chasing after her friends. He was left alone with the scattered fragments of the fallen anatomy dummy. James. You guys being way too nice to me again. Jeez. From here on, this becomes a strange tale. Despite his insistence that she had broken the anatomy dummy, the girl and her friends claimed that she had done no such thing. No, in fact, they even went so far as to say none of them had gone near the science prep room. But the image of the girl knocking over the anatomy dummy right before his eyes was burned into Takeshi no Namiya's mind. It was fixed there so clearly that if he could, he would have printed and developed it like film. But the girls wanted him to produce real proof that if he had it. But one cannot develop that which is seen by eye alone. So he had no proof to give. Is a yokai going to help him get revenge? I wonder. Those girls were normally good students. You're talking about the jazz version of Megalovania? Ji-chan, that's a really slow and sweet version. And thinking statistically, girls at that age are more trustworthy than boys. On top of that, the girls had united their many voices against his. As a result, no matter what he did, I'm telling you this right now as a girl who is a huge, huge ass liar, having a trustworthy reputation just makes it easier to lie. It's really easy to get one too. You tell the truth about many, many, many small, inconsequential things to parents and teachers. Then, when you lie about something that is an actual lie, they'll believe you because you've told the truth about so many times before. Seriously. Anybody at any age can be a liar. As a result, no matter what he did, the teacher decided that Takeshi no Namiya was lying. It wasn't like he was beaten for it, only harshly scolded. But it was so very frustrating. Oh, he would never forgive the girls who had lied. But what was truly frustrating was that he couldn't present the truth he had seen with his own eyes. Ooh, I love this discussion here. Wow, this music reminds me of Professor Layton a bit. Even though people can see the truth with their eyes, as long as they have no proof to back it up, they cannot call it truth. In other words, a person cannot see the truth with their eyes alone. Only by developing what has been captured on film can anyone see the truth. In his current state of mind, he began to wish strongly for something like a camera that could capture the truth and develop it into pictures. Dude is making a monkey's paw wish. Yeah, this is getting very Umineko-y, I'll say. Middle school sucked, I think, for a lot of people. Me, especially. And I think it seems like for you too, Angie Castle. His decision to aim toward becoming a reporter, a cameraman, who sought the truth was a natural result of his youth and righteous indignation at that time. And so, that became the catalyst. From then on, he slowly began to enter the world of photography. But something like a shocking photograph that would fulfill his righteous desires did not come quickly. That lens was instead turned upon the more ordinary things that were close at hand. And before he knew it, he took almost poetic pleasure in the simple things he was able to capture day by day. As those days continued, his happiness eroded away at the frustration he had felt from those false accusations. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of static in the background. And soon he began to even forget the name and face of the girl who had caused it all. Really, he forgot. Well, I'm glad he's happy at least. And it's true, he wasn't punished for what happened. Which is nice. So there weren't any real consequences to that lie, which is nice. So, since no one else in his class was quite as passionate about cameras, this hobby became his entire identity in the school. The concept that Takeshi equals camera became a matter of fact. So that even during outdoor school trips, he was allowed to bring a camera along for school journalism purposes. That was a huge boost to his self-esteem. And he even thought it might be nice to pursue a job involving photography in the future. Dance. Now, so far this seems like a very sweet story. But something tells me it's gonna turn scary. Because that's the whole purpose of Higanbana. So joining the newspaper club came naturally in the flow of events. He was valuable as the person with the most knowledge of cameras in the whole club. Void Dweller had said he completely forgot which girls were the ones who did it, so I think he moved past it. I guess also partially due to the fact that he wasn't punished for what happened. So it didn't really sting as much as it could have. And so he would feel a thrill of joy whenever the club counselor called him cameraman. The room was very old. However, in a school that was growing to meet the needs of the increasing student population, having a room that had some obvious history was a mark of pride for the newspaper club. In the room, the club members sat around on a desk on folding chairs. The shelves on the walls were overflowing with old books, documents and clippings, as well as old and broken equipment. There was no way of telling what belonged to the club originally, and what had been brought and forgotten by members long ago. And above all, the stench of dust and mildew lingered in the chaotic clubroom. You know, this newspaper club seems like we got a super long history. Even before the war, this club's been around since the day the school opened, so the rumors say. The club president muttered this so suddenly, while the club was in the middle of chattering idly, rather than deciding on the theme for the next bulletin. Takeshi, looking for some kind of interesting idea they could go with, was fishing around in the old shelves. Because some of the older shelves in the back had mountains of piled books, some went as far to say as the place was a nest of demons, and once carelessly entered, no man could return. Uh-oh. He was hoping that at that hidden place, he would find something rare sleeping. Something amazing enough to put this endlessly repeating meeting to an end.
Nonimiya, how's it look? Dug up anything interesting yet? If you're that far back, it's probably all pre-war albums and stuff.
You're right. It's amazing. We're in the same room, but over here it feels like I've stepped right into the Meiji period. Like some kind of time capsule, right here in this room.
Oh, like some kind of time capsule right here in this room.
Yeah, only, minus the capsule part. Everyone laughed hard at that. Weary from the fruitless meeting, it was as if everyone's boiling point for laughter was at a much lower temperature. Just like the club president had said, most of the books on the shelves tucked away in that nest of demons were amazingly old. Even just looking at the dates, they weren't just Taisho era. There were many that went all the way back to Meiji, where Rurouni Kenshin roamed the land. As he went through the books, he even found the old, dried, ominous remains of insects. Uh-oh. The term nest of demons wasn't all talk. Oh. Suddenly, Takeshi found it. Same, Chi-chan. Oh god. This is bad. This is bad. Oh god. Oh god. It was an old instant camera. Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. This is bad. This is bad. Oh god. Instant photos tend to lose their color quickly, so it would have been useless for records. I've read scary stories involving things like this before. Oh god. And I agree 100%, Ji-chan. However, by using it, one would never need to go through the hassle of a dark room for developing, as they would with a normal camera. I remember those old instant cameras. My family used to have one and used to use it for all kinds of old trips in the 90s. To put it simply, it was thought of as more of a kind of toy camera. Hello T, welcome to the stream. I've always wanted one if I could get my hands on it, but before today, I'd never had the chance. But I somehow felt uneasy about this, that I had found an instant camera like this, buried amongst a mountain of books that dated back to the school's founding. Somehow made me feel uneasy. It was an old camera, but it was beyond state of the art at the time of the school's founding. In spite of that, it had been buried in the depths of this place, and it had been sealed as if it had been sealed away. Red flags! Red flags! Oh God. I touched it. Oh! Uh-oh. Oh God, now it's bound to you. Oh God. I felt a tiny jolt, almost like a static shock. I timidly pulled my fingers back, then reached out to touch it again. It was cold to the touch. There were no names written on it or any labels marking it as school property, judging by how dusty it was. It'd be fair to assume that it had been broken, then abandoned here by some student long ago. I wonder, if I put some new batteries in it, would it even work? No. No, even if it did, I can't use the film inside something this old. Apparition, if you're tired, please get some rest. OA and G-Town are here. I know you love coming to the streams, but if you're tired, please rest. It had probably expired years ago by now. But somehow Takeshi just couldn't tear his eyes from this toy he had found. Maybe, just maybe, it could still work. Oh, you just woke up, apparition. If not, he could always throw it away again. If it did work, it would be the perfect plaything to change up his everyday life. Damn, I'm getting this static in the background like you wouldn't believe. Jeez. I hope you guys don't hear it too much. Present, do you think this thing still works? Takeshi. Or Takashi. I don't know, I keep saying it two different ways. Takashi. Hoisting the instant camera. Once again climbed his way through the demonic piles of books and returned to where the other club members were. Okay, that's good. It's just me. Okay, that's fine then.
What the heck is that? An old beat up camera? With a drop back there?
Yes, all the way in the very back. Maybe it's something one of our predecessors forgot long ago. The other club members hope there'd be something interesting photographed on the film left in the camera. But because this was an instant camera, it didn't retain film. It would instantly develop and eject after taking a picture. Thus, no trace of past pictures could be found. They still needed film, though. And it wasn't as if there were any club members who wanted to touch this sort of old, dusty camera. You know what this kind of reminds me of? A slightly more sinister version of the Professor Layton puzzle-solving music. After someone suddenly interjected a pun, they all laughed and their focus on the matter completely vanished. Takashi left them to themselves and put some new batteries into the instant camera. He wasn't expecting it to work. If it didn't, he'd trash it. In the 1 in a million chance it did work, it would be his lucky day. Those were his feelings as he changed the batteries. He turned it over. To his surprise, a glowing light signified that it was receiving electricity. Oh God. So there's several ways this could go. Uh-oh. This could either the picture could show something bad happening to the people inside, or something bad happens to the people that you take the pictures of. Those are the two different ways I've heard stories like this go. Absolutely total monkey's paw here, Ji-chan. Let's see which of those two it is, or maybe something completely different. Takashi aimed the camera at his clubmates, who were still laughing amongst themselves, and pushed the shutter. The shutter resisted quite stubbornly, but then it made a pleasant snapshot noise with a click. The club members were shocked when the ancient camera managed to take a picture. Of course, Takashi was as well. Then a picture appeared sliding from the front of the camera. At first it looked like there was nothing on it, but slowly an image began to appear.
Whoa, that's amazing! It actually worked?
Did you capture any ghosts in the picture? An old street camera like this could probably do that, right? Now that you mention it, I feel like I heard a story like that from someone who graduated. Somewhere in this room, there was a hidden camera that could photograph souls, or something like that. Oh, I see. Is he going to be able to see, to see Marie and hear Higanbana? I wonder.
I heard that from him too. He told me that when someone took a class picture with the camera, students who should have been there developed on the film.
As they were telling these stories, the image on the photograph began to appear. Everyone crammed in close together, butting heads as they tried to see if there was anyone else in the picture. Of course, they did not conveniently see a spirit photograph. The photograph had taken only a mediocre, everyday scene of their club. Perhaps it betrayed their hopes, but at the very least it could serve as a nice memory of their meeting that day. The picture was fairly vivid. Even though this kind of photo couldn't be used for long-term records, it was pretty good for a toy camera. Club President, about this camera. Would you say if it's alright if I took a look at it for a bit?
Yeah, why not? The guy who brought it probably forgot about it a long time ago. It's old, so you probably won't be able to find parts or film for it. You found it, Nonomiya, so it's fine if it's yours now, isn't it?
Just like that, Takashi became the camera's new owner. It could be said that the camera probably had no particular interest to the rest of them. There are only a few shots of remaining film left in it. Someone probably couldn't even play around with it, even though it was a toy camera. Hello, Game Master. Welcome to the stream. Even so, his encounter with this camera must have tied him to a divine plan of great importance. With that kind of positive thinking in mind, he headed for the exit. In the end, as usual, the group had fallen back to deciding on a safe theme for the bulletin. I was thinking about that apparition. Yeah, I'm trying to give the usual voices a rest for this one, and except for Beatrice being the narrator. And yeah, and see if I can't work on some of my other ones more. In the end, as usual, the group had fallen back to deciding on a safe theme for the bulletin. More than safe. That idea was so uninteresting that it should have been rejected as soon as someone said it. If they were going to decide on something like that, they should have done it earlier instead of wasting so much time. Oh well, it was always like that. It was the evening, dusk. In the hallway stained orange by the setting sun, there was no sign of any of the students. From a distance, no one could hear the rousing shouts of the athletics clubs, but those were so distant, they only served to accent the hallway's loneliness. Oh, God damn it! And yeah, the narration switches between omniscient and a character so abruptly sometimes. So, there was no way I could have bumped into someone. I was so excited about the camera that I couldn't take my eyes off it as I walked. Oh, Higanbana, hello. So, when I suddenly noticed that someone was there, I jumped in surprise. Oh! Oh God, here's that Umineko sound effect. And in that moment, I felt the camera slip from my fingers. The camera was such a fragile thing. If it hit the ground, it'd definitely shatter. But, with the grace of a badminton player hitting a birdie at the last moment, the girl before my eyes gracefully scooped up to the camera out of thin air. It had been a hair's breadth from hitting the ground. You should watch where you're going, right? Next time, a camera might not be the only thing that falls over. Capiche? The girl laughed with perfect grace and elegance. From the way she spoke and the atmosphere, I assumed she was an upperclassman. I love the music in this. The music is first rate. As I bowed in apology, I glanced at her name tag. But maybe by rain or something else it had been washed out and was impossible to read. And so, I was caught in the strange situation of not knowing whether the person I was talking to was older or younger than I was. God damn it! Oh wait, I would have done it different if that line was beforehand. That's not fair. I would have done it differently if the freaking line was afterward. Was beforehand. But it didn't really matter how old she was, did it? Sorry, that's him. But it didn't really matter how old she was, did it? The whole thing was my fault for being so absent-minded. So, regardless... Oh. Look at this! The narrator switched between fucking paragraphs. So regardless, Takashi apologized to her, as he would to an upperclassman. I'm terribly sorry. Also, thank you very much for catching the camera. Not at all. This seems like an interesting camera, doesn't it? Ha, you can tell. Yes, it's an instant camera, you see. It's the type that develops the picture as soon as you take it. There, it looks like it to be a pretty old model. Old things often have various things dwelling within them. That camera looks as though it could even capture things ordinary cameras couldn't. Doesn't it, darling? You know about that too. The older members of the newspaper club had mentioned it. How there were rumors of a spirit camera being hidden in our room. They were saying this could be that camera. That's right. It's true. Huh? The girl giggled. Even though there was no wind, the girl's long hair was swaying as if in a breeze, using Seto Kaiba cape technology. Pictures are cruel, aren't they, darling? They record the truth for all eternity. But no one can really know if that's a good thing or not. Human corpses rot and are eaten by the worms, and give off such an unpleasant smell. Is the music too loud for you guys, or is it good enough? Can you hear me okay? But in the end, they return to the earth and cleanly disappear. But what if there was a corpse that couldn't rot away? What if such a corpse remained exposed for all to see forever? Oh, and they're doing the same person speaks twice in a row thing. Okay. Hello, Jess! Welcome to the stream. I wouldn't want that. If I died, it's unpleasant to think that my body would be devoured and torn to pieces, but the thought of existing forever as an unsightly empty shell is unbearable. Wait, is this him? Oh no, this is still her. She's just being ironic, I see. So when I say that stuffing dead animals and taking pictures are equally as cruel, you understand, don't you, darling? Takashi got the feeling she was making fun of him. Of course, a person could use a camera in the way she was describing. That's why a cameraman needs to be ethical. What was okay to photograph or what wasn't? Understanding the difference, he had to always choose to share only the good things. Oh, what a nice thought. If you're that straight-laced about it, perhaps there is value in entrusting that camera to you. Why don't you run along and play with it, darling? I'm sure you'll have fun. It seemed as if this girl knew all about the camera. Of course, there was no way that was possible. Oh. Of course, there was no way that was possible. That was probably just my imagination. It was almost like she knew of some prank-like mechanism hidden in that camera. The girl giggled with laughter as she walked past my side. In the hallway tinted by the color of twilight, the figure of the girl walking away seemed mysterious somehow. I subconsciously found myself fixing her retreating figure into the viewfinder of the camera. As I did, suddenly from a window near me came a sharp crack. Ha! I jumped and, lowering the camera, looked over that way. Maybe a ball from somewhere had flown and hit the glass or something. Oh. I'm a bit camera shy, darling. Not me. The window was fractured in the shape of a spider's web. Then I noticed that the girl had turned and was staring at me. It looked as if she was upset at me for trying to take a picture of her without her permission. Oh, that won't do. You're free to photograph whatever you want, but let's not point it my way. Huh? I was just thinking it'd be nice to give someone a fright, but to do it here would be a waste. The ambiance is all wrong. Sorry. I couldn't really tell what she was talking about. but at the very least, I understood that she was upset. She headed towards the other end of the corridor and soon vanished, leaving me alone in the deserted hallway with the camera. This camera, just what was it really capable of capturing? The concept of having developed photographs come out on the spot was a joy I hadn't experienced before. Of course, filling up a roll of film and then slowly developing in a darkroom was enjoyable in its own right. But the ease of developing film on the spot with that toy-like camera was truly fun. I can't wait until they invent digital cameras. That'll be fucking baller. With instant pictures, there was no long wait, and the colors would fade far faster than a normal photograph, because they were meant to be taken in the moment and enjoyed in the moment with ease. Seriously, I am really digging the sprites, and I think Ryukishi has gotten better in choosing backgrounds and adding nice filters to them, because I will say this, over the original Higurashi and Umineko backgrounds, these feel purposeful. Rather than taking the role of replacing art, these feel like as if like they're meant to create an atmosphere. There were still some rows of film in the camera, so I stopped worrying about it. Perhaps it was that very fact that it had film left that made it impossible for the camera to rest in peace. To be gathering dust, forgotten by someone while there was still film left unused within it, was truly a sad thing. I thought about it that way. It seemed even more like my meeting with this camera was dictated by fate. So I wouldn't worry about wasting the film, and I enjoy taking all kinds of photos with it. I just realized something. Higanbana is the 3rd ranked yokai. I wonder what's gonna happen. I wonder when we're gonna meet the top 2. Hello, Enli. Welcome to the stream. Oh yeah, Higanbana. I would love to see this get the Umineko and Higurashi treatment. It totally deserves it, I think. But like, because of the subject matter in the first story, I could understand why a big publisher wouldn't want to touch it. Which is sad, because there's no like you know, something that you wouldn't want published would be you know, giving fan service to that, but it was not treated in a fan servicey way at all. It was treated in a very respectful way, and wasn't framed in any possible way other than what he was doing was deeply, deeply wrong. So, it's a shame. But, yeah, I think, you know, maybe, you know, one day. Because, I really think this is quite great so far. Oh god, James, I don't want to even think about the manga. Ugh. Oh, of course it did, James. I had that feeling. So, I wouldn't worry about wasting the film, and I'd enjoy taking all kinds of photos with it. Then, when I'd used all the film, I'd return to where I found it. So I thought. Because one day, I realized there were only 2 shots left. So I decided to try something with it. Of course, I had mischief in mind. They say if you take a close picture, a student who should not be there will appear. I figured I'd try to see if that was true. Oh, wow, James. The Meza story originated from a novel Ryukishi wrote in 2006. Before even Umineko. Wow. That's crazy. Oh, that's great. Because it feels... Because I was thinking, like, this has to be original to Ryukishi. Because the themes just seem right up his alley. Like, the thematic connection. Even though there's no canonical connection, the thematic connection to Umineko and Higurashi is too solid for it not to be. It was during social studies. We watched a video and the assignment was to write down our impressions. I announced that I wanted a picture of the class and took it just for fun. Incidentally, for some reason the film that always developed fairly quickly took much longer this time. My classmates, who were all waiting to see what would develop, all said that the whole camera was probably broken. They told me if that there was film left, I should try again. But I was worried, so I refused. And that was it for photographing that day. Had the chemicals of the film finally gone bad? Somehow I figured that wasn't it. Maybe it had photographed something. Something that should not be photographed. Perhaps the camera was resisting to spare us from seeing that. That day, the deep words spoken to me by the strange girl in the corridor returned to me. It was as if she had wanted me to take that picture of my class. Maybe that's what she meant by her deep words. I just knew there was something captured in this photo. That said, it was incredibly faint, but I saw the picture beginning to develop. I looked at the photo after school, and it was still slowly developing. It's not going to fully develop until he's all alone at night, isn't it? But even with that, I still couldn't make out the faces of my classmates in it. Takashi somehow believed it. Oh, now we're back to Beatrice narrator. Takashi somehow believed it. That in this photo, he had surely captured something mysterious. Carefully taking the photo away, he returned home. Wait, what? No, you don't, Jazz. What are you talking about? And when he ate dinner, took a bath or the like, he took it out each time to check it. And little by little it was becoming clearer. And then in the depth of night, when he thought to give it up and go to sleep. Uh-oh. Of course. Of course it's gonna wait at nighttime. Oh, I think Jess is a girl. I'm not sure, though. Apparition. Finally, the image appeared clearly for him. He diligently looked over the image, checking the photographed faces of his classmates. Oh, yep, I was right. And is it a normal picture after all? I guess so. But I bet something will appear later. Or something will happen to the people. Yeah, there wasn't any strange spirit or anything like that on there. What was I thinking? How silly! Before I knew it, I was holding my sides in laughter. Even though that photograph had made me wait like this, there was nothing strange caught on the film. The oddly long time to develop made me wonder, but even though I waited for so long, in the end it was a complete letdown. What developed, no matter how many times I looked at it, was just a picture of my classmates. I looked at it from the side, I looked at it upside down, something like a long-haired girl glaring, or perhaps a strange light or shadow being projected. I saw nothing of the sort. It was simply a classroom picture, with my classmates as they should be. That's right. Every one of my classmates. Only faces I knew. Only faces I knew. There was Tano-kun. There was Fukuda-kun. Here's Nishigawa-san. And Ando-san. And, who is this again? I didn't really talk to that kid. I can't remember the name. Oh, God. Oh, Marie. What are you doing, you silly Billy? Who was she again? That absent-minded girl with glasses and that depressed look on her face. It was quite a sad story. We're in the same class and she was even here every semester. But I can't recall the girl's name. Who was she? Who was she really? There's no doubt she was in my class. And yet I can't remember. Who is it? Who is she? Even though it was already time to sleep, somehow I found myself determined to know. I decided that if only I could remember who she was, I would let myself sleep. That's right. There was a guidebook from our field trip. Inside, everyone's group divisions were written down, and should have records of everyone's names. If I looked in there, I should have been able to find the name I've forgotten. I wonder, is he going to be our contact in the human world here? From inside the pile of books on the bookshelf, I was able to find the guidebook. If I were younger, I would have thrown this sort of thing away without regret. It's just that after making cameras my hobby, regardless of photographs, for some reason I've started to take special care of recording materials. Because of that, I've even kept this guidebook. Opening the guidebook, I could see a list of students divided by 6 people per group. When the groups were formed like this, there were some clearly incapable and pitiful children there. So those kids were gathered up and made into a mishmash group. Being attached to that kind of group was the same as being labeled a black sheep. I was happy because I was with my friends who had always been there with me. I thought to myself that there were children who hadn't been blessed with such friends. Those kids would probably end up tasting the humiliation each time to be put into this group. This girl seemed like she would have been in that kind of group. So surely she must be in that section. No, she's not here. It's not her. In the end, I couldn't find that girl's name. Was her whole history erased from the human world?
No matter what name it was, I'd be able to associate it with her face.
And none of those were the name of the girl I'd forgotten caught in the photograph. Huh?
That feeling that had been clouded until now had finally burst free. My classmates' names. I knew all of them. I even knew their faces. So that face without a name isn't from my class. What? What? What the? Something began to crawl up my spine. There was only one way to be sure. First I counted
typo.
First I counted all my classmates in the guidebook. I counted them twice to be sure. Even counting them twice, there were 48 in number. Next I counted all the faces in the photo.
Wait, I'm sorry, did he just say... Is that a class with nearly 50 people? Are you fucking serious?
Next I counted all the faces in the photo. If for some reason the number of faces in this photo, if there's more than that, if there's more... My breathing hurried, intensified. My hands began to shake. The heads began to turn round and round in my mind. You spin me right round, baby, right round. And my finger was too big to count the faces with. I took out a mechanical pencil, and with this tip I gently counted the number of faces. Please, please, please! Let it be 48. If it's 49. If it's 49. Please let it be 48. There are 48 in my class. Let it be 48. 46. 47. 48. 48. No doubt. There isn't anyone else.
I bet somebody is absent.
Phew! Oh, Takashi, you and your silly notions of demons and ghosts and some such and whatnot and pittance. There's 48 students in our class. I had surely counted that many. Toppling over the thud and the futon, I was able to laugh at myself. I burst out laughing. All day today, how much I've been worrying about this single photograph, I wonder. Ah, how foolish. But it was truly fascinating. I was relieved with the result. Or rather, perhaps I was fascinated by a mysterious 49th person in the photograph. It's that camera I treated like a toy camera from the start. Because of it, I had a lot more fun with it than any normal toy. Only one strip of film remains, but if I left it on purpose and put it back to sleep once again deep inside the club room, that might be interesting as well. Because future students will find it, and they might enjoy it just as I have. Well, for a very short time anyway.
That's a good question, Ji-chan. Did he count himself?
And with that, my meager curiosity was satisfied. I got inside my futon, and as I lay down, I pulled the strings attached to the lamp and turned out the lights.
Hey. Are you fine with 48?
Isn't that fine? After all, there are 48 of us in our class, and that photo surely photographed 48 students. But I was behind the viewfinder, so there should have only been 47. Ah! I finally realized what a terrifying photograph I had taken. That girl with the glasses. I have no idea who she is. Could she truly be dead? Well, compared to the eeriness expected from a typical ghost photo, I couldn't sense that kind of eeriness from that girl at all. That was my first impression of her image. Whether she was there or not,
It seemed as if she underwent that treatment. An unfortunate bullied kid, always placed in the group with the leftovers. She seemed like that kind of pitiful girl. Perhaps not even having a name in the guidebook was another form of bullying her. Damn, that's like me when I purposefully asked to not be included in any photos in my middle school yearbook. The more I thought about it, the more familiar her presence seemed among my classmates in the photograph. It wasn't as if she was vaguely reflected in a window or a mirror. She had a seat, just like everyone else. And as she was cowering as if someone was about to throw an eraser at her, she seemed like a normal student. Who is she? The more I looked, the more I stared at her, as if I had no excuse for not remembering her name. I had a feeling she was in our class. That couldn't be. I didn't know her. However, I felt that photo she was in was so natural as a class photograph. Exactly, Lambda. It's just sweet little Marie. Oh, God. What is this? What is this photograph? Who is she? No, what is this camera? Tomorrow I head to school and check the class. I'll look at that girl's desk from the photograph. And with that, I'll learn who this girl really is. To do something like forgetting she even exists, much less her name. As a fellow human being in the same class, I have no excuse. Dude! Hold on a minute, Jude. I forget people all the fucking time. Damn! And you have nearly 50 people in your fucking class. Nobody could be expected to remember that many names off the top of their fucking head. Dude, chill. Why, I had no excuse, I had no idea. But anyway, even if we hadn't spoken, I thought at that moment. Not even being able to remember her as her classmate was extremely sad. And then, I knew, the next day, whether it was coincidentally or inevitable. That morning in homeroom, I had the job of making an announcement in front of everyone. Because everyone was present, I saw every person in the class from in front of the... What is a lectern? Sounds like a Pokemon.
Lectern! I choose you!
Lectern. Jeez. It sounds like the name of like a ghost Pokemon. What the fuck is a lectern? Jesus Christ. I looked at that desk where the forgotten girl sat. Oh, you mean a podium? So it's a podium. Oh wait. Why don't they just call it a podium? Oh, jeez. Thank you, guys. I had never heard that word before in my entire life. That's the thing with visual novels. They teach you new words. Like, Danganronpa V3 taught me what a ropeway was. even though I had never heard that term before in my entire life. And it was totally a zip line. Jeez. Just like a really obscure term for a zip line. I looked at that desk where the forgotten girl sat. I looked many times over. And so, it seems that I had to cast aside my common sense that told me truth was captured in photographs. After every single thing I did during class, I'd pull out the photo and gaze at it. It was maddening, absolutely maddening. I didn't want to believe it. Truth is captured in photographs. That was my belief. Because of that, I took pride in being a cameraman. I wonder what Takashi would think in the modern day where Photoshop can be used to make photographs show anything. Yes, Jess, the seesaw effect. Yes, Chi-chan. Everyone did On the Bone Meat. I did On the Bone Meat like 5 times because of the way they phrased the goddamn question. Seriously. If you ask where something is, I'm gonna start my answer with on. For fuck's sake. Jeez. On the bone. I'm sure that a lot of people did On the Bone Meat. Seriously. You did the meat on bone, which also makes sense, OA. And because of that, I took pride in being a cameraman. However, something that wasn't true was captured in that image. If that's the case, then I have to know. Basically, I have to find out who this girl is. At that time, I thought that someone thinking this photo was spirit photography seemed both blasphemous to the camera and to myself. I do as well, Jess. So, without recklessly showing it to people, perhaps thinking her face might turn up in other classes, I indirectly searched for her figure. But this school is truly massive. With an enormous amount of classrooms, even for girls in the same grade, faces of people I didn't know were everywhere. I imagine she might have really been a girl from another class, and she stealthily mixed herself into our class. After all, that day was a self-study session. Other classes had it too, so students could enter our class and mess around, even pretend to be a student in the next seat over. I thought to myself, but from her sad expression, I couldn't sense that kind of extraordinary ambience around her. It is Void Dweller. It looks like it seems like Marie has been erased from existence at the school because she became a yokai. Like from people's memories and everything. It seems like that might have been the case. If she had projected a more mischievous expression, then there might have been room for that kind of thinking.
Nonamiya, about that camera from the other day. After all that, did it capture anything interesting?
Nothing at all. No mysterious, cute glasses girls or anything like that. No, nothing of the sort. Why would you even think so? You're weird for thinking that.
Okay, thought so.
In the clubroom, my friends had asked me about my spoils of war, but I had evaded the question. In their minds, they probably wanted it to take pictures of ghosts, and it had taken that fairly suspicious photograph. Even so, I was denying them that. If I'd showed this photo to them, everyone would probably be in uproar saying it was a ghost that caught on film. Because think about it. Like, wasn't the whole school like in an uproar over her disappearance? They would surely know who she was. Like, pictures of her would have been placed everywhere because they never knew she died. She was just missing to them. So surely, if she hadn't been erased from existence or something, there would be like missing girl posters. If I showed this photo to them, everyone would probably be in uproar saying it was a ghost caught on film. But that would contradict my belief that photographs capture the truth. I also thought it was strange. But I wonder, am I not a man of morality? My God, this guy is pure Georgie. Totally the right voice for him. Of course. That time when I felt mortified by those false charges in the science prep room because I had wanted to dispel those lies. That was my motivation for going into photography. What would his name? What would his name in a Phoenix Wright game be? Because this sounds like a very Phoenix Wright style motivation here. How about Darian Kroom? As you know, up on Dark Room. Spelled like this. Like that. I think that would probably be. Yeah. He feels like he's an Ace Attorney character. At that time, I thought over and over again. What would have happened if the truth reflected in my eyes had developed into a photograph? Oh, Void Dweller, that's what I think his name should be in Phoenix Wright. If he was a Phoenix Wright character, that would be, I think that would be his name. Listen, Jitan, it's the best pun I could come up with. God damn it, Jitan. The only thing captured in a photo is the truth. I'd certainly believe so. Because of that, I don't think I can stand this photograph that hasn't captured the truth. That's not it. Plus, it wasn't that kind of a convenient reason. Perhaps I was just frustrated. That mysterious girl. I probably knew her. And I was frustrated because I couldn't remember who she was. Exactly, Jess. After an exchange with my friends in the club, since we weren't interested in our work, we decided to head home early. Then in the same orange-tinted hallway from that day, I once again met that same girl. That's right. Now that I think of it, I believe this girl knows what this camera really is. Ooh, a new song. If so, maybe she can tell me who this mysterious girl captured in the photograph is. Oh, her. Yeah, that's my girlfriend. Excuse me? Oh, if you want to know, I can surely tell you. Huh? Even though no words had come from my mouth, regardless, the girl spoke in response to a question I had in my mind before I opened my mouth. Oh, without a doubt, that girl is your classmate. If you remember her, she'll surely be happy with that. There are 48 people in my class. She's the 49th. Even in the class register and photos, her name isn't mentioned anywhere. Okay. So she definitely was erased from existence, it seems. Oh, everyone went and forgot her, you see. It's his fault. Who is his? Is it one of the higher ranking yokai? Are you heading out? Yes. Well, how about you try checking everyone's names by the shoe racks? If she's your classmate, everyone has a place to put their shoes, don't they? There might be ways to tease someone by hiding their desks and chairs, but there's probably no way to hide a locker in its entirety. Checking the shoe racks. By doing that, I could learn that girl's identity. Oh my god, Jess, I gotta say it. Okay, Kirigiri, let's see, what voice? Marie Moria, the 49th student, hidden in the depths of this school. Watch out for her. And then Makoto was like, what? I'm sorry, Makoto, it's just a meme I learned that I thought was hilarious. Even though her name wasn't on the class register, for her name to be left on the shoe racks, that's hard to believe. But that strange girl was saying I should try checking there. That prediction she gave me. That if I wanted a surprise, that camera would deliver. It certainly did. So she's saying I should check those shoe racks. Maybe once again I'll find what I'm looking for. Thank you. I'll try checking it out. Oh, you do that, darling. Laters. Aren't you heading home? Huh? On this kind of evening, for that girl to be walking in the opposite direction of the exit, I felt something that was a bit out of place and spoke to her. If she was taking part in club activities, she'd be at her club room or the gym. If she were returning home, she'd be heading to the same exit I was. I had no idea what she was doing based on where she was headed. Even the way she walked, she projected a certain atmosphere, as if she were taking a leisurely stroll on lunch break. And then she giggled and smiled. Thanks. Why was I suddenly being thanked? I had no idea. That exit is for leaving the school and returning home, you see. So it's useless for me. It's all useless. Well. Let's take a look at the menagerie, as how about you go home? Your classmates have already left long ago, haven't they? So her class hadn't left school yet then? I noticed a figure vaguely distraught somehow. Are my eyes blurry? As if something were in my eyes, I quickly rubbed them and once again looked down the hall, and the girl's figure had already disappeared. In front of the entrance where students take off their shoes, just as she said, I tried checking the numbered shelves for the shoes of my classmates. And there weren't any shoes or slippers inside them, but there was one shelf labeled with a name tag stuck to it, all by itself. It seemed like it had been stuck on from a very long time ago. It was a worn-out label. Literally, it made me feel its loneliness, as if it had been completely forgotten. I squatted down to read it, the name on that label. But the name tag is worn out. Surely it was a student from many years ago. There's no way I'd know that name. See, I don't know any Marie Moria. I said I don't know anyone named Marie Moria. Even though I had said those words, I felt as if the smell in the air was beginning to change. It felt like noticing something rotten in the garbage disposal. Just like that, I finally noticed the smell hanging in the air down the hallway. Even though I should have noticed it sooner, I know how long it had been in the air. But now that I've realized it, I remember now that it had always been there. Marie Moria. On a rainy day in the classroom, boys and girls was making noise during lunch break. There's no particularly special or unique scenery went through my mind. In one corner of the room, the girls gathered and carried on. In one corner of the room, the girls... oh yeah, I already read that one. After all, because they were bullying. I didn't treat it like watching TV after a meal, but that was my good conscience. Only bad girls were there. They surrounded the usual target and they were lashing out at her about one thing or another. Even the guys were ganging up on her. It was a truly distasteful scene. But I didn't stop it. I didn't feel any sense of duty to protect her. And since I didn't feel I had any reason or necessity to fight them, I did nothing. During the lunch period, someone threw a piece of bread at her. That hit her head and landed in someone's bowl of stew. Said it seemed polluted and they couldn't eat it and so on and so forth. As to whether in that process there was any value in causing her, I couldn't tell. But because I had no desire to intervene, I didn't understand it, and yet... If you think it's your fault, then apologize! You should have said I'm sorry earlier. That's right. I'm sorry! Say it! I did nothing wrong. Why do I have to apologize? Who are you kidding? Everyone hear that? What do you think? So, who do you think is wrong here? We have the verdict. Moria is guilty! Uh-oh. Yeah, Jess, Edgeworth would be very disappointed in you, Takashi. Edgeworth would not stand for this. Moria-san, in pain and bitterness. Oh, Moria-san, in pain and bitterness. Fighting hard on her lower lip, hunger, head, and shame. That's right, that girl was Marie Moria. That name tag, perhaps, had been waiting. That name tag, perhaps, had been waiting a long time for me to remember that. And as if it had finished its duty, it began to dissolve with a hiss. Smoke. No, dust took over as it began to disappear. Uh-oh. I wonder what's going on. I blinked and looked again, but all that was there was a solitary vacant shoe shelf. Okay, so someone wanted him to know her. But I didn't need the name tag anymore. After all, I remembered. Yes, in my class there were 49. I ran back to the classroom, and so I recounted the number of desks, multiplied them in my mind, added what was left, and there were 49. This time it wasn't a hiss. With a whoosh, it was as if a huge wind had blown in. The scent in the air in the classroom changed dramatically. Something had changed. For I, who had no idea what the name Marie Moria meant until moments ago, didn't know what it was, but something had changed. I looked at the bellmark names listed on the wall. She was the kind of girl who would bring those to school and have a bellmark score on the wall. Moria starts with an N. She'll be towards the end of the list of girls. There it is. Moria. Marie! I pulled that photograph from my pocket. Sat at the desk where Marie Moria had been photographed. And in that place was a terribly warped desk. The top of the desk had been carved with cruel graffiti. Die, ugly, and the like. It was in bad shape. Even her detachable seat cushion that could have used to protect her head in case of emergencies had been covered with ink and was maliciously stained pure black. I slowly taken that cushion in my hand. Because it was obvious her name would be written on that emergency cushion. Marie Moria. It was clearly written just there, like that. Okay, you guys, I'm just gonna have a quick bathroom break. I will be right back. Okay, back. Apparition, do you know how close it would be, to the, I'm just curious, to the halfway point? I'm sorry, Void Dweller. The first half hour of this mainly set the stage. Set the setting, introduced Takashi, you know, how he loved photography, and had him find the camera. Basically. Anyway, let's get back to the story. I decided to make a detour before heading home. I didn't understand what the camera wanted to tell me. But it passed into my hands, and with it I took that photograph. And aside from capturing the girl who shouldn't be there, it must have some meaning. In the classroom shelf was the same field trip guidebook I read last night in my house. By chance I thought to open it, and just as I thought, inside was Marie Moria's name that I had struggled so hard over and over again to find last night. And her emergency contact information was a phone number, and even an address had been written down. Okay, so the demon... Okay, so whoever didn't do that... So whoever, like, made everyone forget about her didn't remove her from every record. Just some. The address was on the way home. It was a public apartment complex. I checked the mailboxes by the elevators. There was no mistake. Among the names on the mailboxes, the name tag for Moria was there. That's it. There was no room for doubt anymore. And I remember, Marie Moria really had existed. She was our classmate. She really did exist, and she even had a home here. That's right. The photograph had doubtlessly delivered the truth. Now the obvious question to ask is, why did we forget about her? No, it's not like we just forgot about her. Her name disappeared from everything in school. Okay, yeah, confirmation of that. Even her desk. I remembered her name, and maybe only I could find her name in the class register in that 49th desk. Could this be that thing from the school ghost story I often hear about? Is he gonna go to Mezzo? Oh god. Oh no. I hope he doesn't get killed accidentally. Oh god. Now that I think about it, I believe I've heard about this. That's right. The rumor about the creation of the 8th ghost story. That rumor about that yokai called Meze-Meze-san that appears in the old school restroom. That girl was in fact a bullied student, and that she was killed by a teacher or something, and that she transformed and whatnot. Wait a minute. How would they know that? How would anyone know that? Wait, what? How would anyone know that? Oh, it's only a third of the way through the chapter. Apparition, really. But Apparition, I want to go, we're only barely an hour and a half into the stream. We have plenty of time left in this stream. And that she transformed and whatnot. And whatnot, really, damn. It seems like it's almost written with a British accent. Huh? Wait, what? Have I really heard such a story before now? Oh, the name of that girl was Moria. Okay, so is somebody putting, What? Did I have a memory like that? props are being sucked into the school ghost story because of that mysterious camera. Okay, so this memory is being, like, forcibly put into his mind. Interesting. Okay. This memory is like being forced into his head of the story. So that's cool. What she did was she made sure to write into her own legend the truth. That's cool. But this wasn't like a vague ghost story or anything of the sort. After all, the traces of Marie Mori's existence are still here. Because even her home is still here. Even though it had always been here like this, the truth hadn't been revealed. I steeled myself and I called the elevator. And my mind made up. I couldn't go back. I had come this far. I'll see the truth for myself. Finding that camera, taking the picture of the class, remembering me, Marie Moria, and finally coming here was probably no mere coincidence. Someone, for some reason I don't understand, led me here. Okay, so Higanbana or Marie wants him to remember her. I walked the hallway of the complex. The various apartments jostled by the hallway, mixed with the smells of daily life in the various apartments. Wait, what kind of a sentence was that? Wait, what? Okay, something about smells in the apartments. On the plus side, it was overflowing with life. But on the downside, the place seemed stagnant, with an unwelcoming atmosphere. And so, I finally arrived. Moria. Right here. Here we go, the main theme of Higanbana. Affixed to the nameplate was a card written and stained in marker, and written in small print after the last name Moria were the names of 4 family members. Marie's name wasn't on there. Okay, so she literally has been erased from existence, except if he remembers her. Void Dweller, I'd imagine that they probably did. I imagine he was probably erased too. Marie's name wasn't on there. Wait! That's not right. It's a 5-member family. I let loose a small breath, summoning up some courage, and I rubbed my eyes. Marie Moria. It was as if her name alone had been weathered, and as if the nameplate remembered her name. At the end of the 4 names in the family, vaguely, Marie began to surface. Okay, so it seems traces of her are returning to the world as he remembers her. It seems like her memory is restoring her presence to the world. I thought to ring the doorbell. There was a sticky note there saying, "Out of order, please knock." I looked at the electric meter. It was moving in a way that suggested the family was home. Damn. In addition to being a photographer, you are apparently an electricity expert. On the way here, there were still apartments with the evening paper at their doors. But there was no paper on their doorstep. That's a sign that someone is home. I swallowed hard, and once again I looked at the door plate with the name Marie. And then I knocked. I wanted to know the truth. That truth caught on the camera. But what kind of truth was it? I had to find out. Finally, I heard the voice of a middle-aged woman say, "Oh, who is it?" Perhaps it's Marie Moria's mother. I sensed her putting sandals in the entrance and then looking through the peephole. Even she misunderstood what I'd looked like. I couldn't have looked like a high-pressure salesman. As if to make sure, the door opened with the chain on. As the door opened, along with all kinds of smells, an older woman's face, more beautiful than I had imagined, peeked out. "Oh, young man. What's the matter?" Excuse me, Miss Moria? Mrs. Moria? Might you be Moria-san's mother?" "Well, yes. I am, but which of the two are you asking for?" If we're like the nameplate read, then there were two other sisters aside from Marie in the Moria family. I thought that's what she meant by which of the two. I saying Marie had two sisters implied she exists. Then if she didn't exist, asking for her might have seemed inappropriate. And the way she made it sound like there were only two. There was no doubt. She didn't recognize Marie. Well, it's about Marie Moria. Oh. Her mother didn't react to the name Marie. She decided I must have been asking for another one of her daughters. So she must have misheard Marie's name. But I had anticipated that reaction as well. Ho ho ho! If I'm guessing right, normally we can't remember Marie Moria. Without seeing that photograph I took with that camera, we can't remember her. Damn, it seems like an SCP. Almost like a Thaumiel class SCP. So I took that photo from my pocket. While showing it to her mother, I pointed at Marie Moria. It's about this girl, you see. She does live here, doesn't she? Which girl? May I have a look at this photo for a bit? Oh God, what's up with these kids? Just criminy. With a profile that small, even pointing her out with my finger was difficult to indicate where she was. Her mother, with those smells ever so close to her, stared intently at it while smelling absolutely awful. I wonder, maybe her memory won't return. Perhaps she'll just think I tricked her into looking at some weird photo, maybe for a bet or something. No, that's not right. If the person saw a photograph they were indifferent to, they wouldn't concentrate on it for a long time like she was doing. Because I had the same experience, I knew. Her mother was beginning to remember. Well, don't you remember her? Remember? I could tell her words were trembling with uncertainty. I could clearly see her irritation, but she couldn't say. For sure she didn't know her. Because it really does feel like Maurice has been erased from this world. And her traces of her only come back when Takashi, who saw her ghost in the picture, looks for them. Perhaps she pondered that she might not really have a family of 4 in her household. And a memory might be reviving in her mind that she had a family of 5. And then, in a whisper, she muttered, Marie. Yes, it's Marie-san. I repeated that. At that moment, she realized the truth about her family. At the same time, she burst with emotion. She screamed. Marie! That's right, Marie didn't come back for ages! Where's Marie? She never came back! Never came back! Where's Marie? Hey, where is she? She's been gone for days, you know! Oh, it's my fault. I pushed her to study, and everything is that girl's personality! Now she's lost to us. Now she won't come home. She's afraid of me, so she ran away. It's my fault! Where? Where's Marie? Marie, please come home! I knew those words were deranged, but this was the first time in my life that I had seen a scenario so befitting the word. Perhaps if that chain hadn't been on this open door, that woman might have come lunging at me. While she screamed for Marie to come back to her, the woman ran back into the house. I didn't know what she was doing, but I had a hunch. Oh, I'm very sorry, Lambda. Maybe she was searching for remnants that she truly had a daughter called Marie. That those traces had always been right by her side until now, but she had never noticed them. For her now, perhaps she was seeing something like Marie's favorite bug, even in the cupboards where there should have been things that belonged to her, only to her family of 4. She must be seeing that 5th member's things now. Well, keep in mind, Void Dweller, that's because Gohan never went to regular school. Until he literally wanted to. Gohan didn't grow up like a normal kid. He just studied from his own room. He was homeschooled, basically. This is completely different. She might have been gathering those things in her confusion, as I heard a great clamor from within. And maybe she thrust those things upon the rest of the family to prove Marie existed. But her family likely doesn't remember the name Marie. As long as they don't see this photograph. That is. Those violent sounds are probably the sounds of those cupboards being turned inside out. Of course, without stopping, she could scream and call out Marie's name. I came here intending to ascertain the truth. But what I had been waiting for was just a strange conclusion. I don't doubt that Marie existed anymore. And Marie's mother remembered her as well. Seriously, I feel so bad for the mother. I almost think it would have been better for her to remain oblivious now. Oh god, but maybe that's the rules if you get turned into a yokai. And Marie's mother remembered her as well. But even though we remember Marie's existence, it doesn't change the fact that she does not exist. Even though she isn't here now, we remember her as she was. I wonder, did I do something absolutely terrible? Well, you couldn't have known this. Takashi, kinda, but you couldn't have known this would happen. Yeah, Maria's like screw my existence. I didn't have a good existence anyway. At least now I'm a badass demon. Pictures are cruel, aren't they? They record the truth for eternity.
That mysterious girl had said that if she knew the camera's true purpose. Photographs certainly say the truth, but that truth wasn't always limited to that person's happiness. If I hadn't brought that picture to her attention, that woman would have probably continued believing she had a family of 4. And she would have spent her life in relative peace. However, I forced her to remember that Marie, one of her daughters, had disappeared long ago and didn't return. No, that wasn't all. Even her existence had been forgotten by the entire world. So I wonder if anyone can understand her cries of lament, searching for her daughter. No one could understand. She repeatedly called Marie's name, but the rest of her family couldn't understand whose name it was. Things were thrown or fell down with loud crashing noises, but I could sense she was coming back to the entrance once more. This time she just might release the chain, open the door, and come charging at me. I ran away. Was it because I was afraid of that woman's madness? Or was it perhaps because I couldn't face the truth the photograph revealed? Couldn't exactly understand why, but I was absolutely terrified. Takeshi no Namiya began to run away from the apartment complex, never to return again, and yet he could still hear the mother's screams for Marie. Oh God. Her screams echoed in the chasm of the complex, and they were screams that sounded as if they came from another world. Since I ran in confusion, I couldn't tell how many wrong alleyways I went down.
Yeah, we'll continue apparition because I do want to go a bit more, at least. But since I knew I was somewhere in the neighborhood, without realizing it, I walked down a narrow alley that I'd never walked down before. Rather than going down a crowded wide avenue, I felt more comfortable in a forgotten narrow alley where no one would see me. I decided to take out the photograph once again. After checking around to make sure no one else had slipped into the seldom traveled street, I took it out. No matter how many times I looked, the captured girl's image called to me, as if to tell me she didn't want to be forgotten. No, maybe she really was. For the first time, I thought Marie Moria, who had been completely forgotten for some reason by the entire world, wanting to be remembered, she might have then developed onto this still image. However, her expression was unclear. She clearly looked as if she wanted to be saved. It was as if everyone in class had to be there. She was unwillingly placed in the photo. It was a resigned sort of expression. Now I began to wonder. After seeing Marie Moria's mother's insanity, I began to think clearly. Did I take a picture that had to be taken, I wonder? And that photo wasn't something that could be taken with just any camera. I discovered something that was hidden, as if asleep, from within that jumbled piles of baggage in that place called our clubroom's nest of demons. And on a whim, I had taken that picture. No, I'm overthinking it. There was no way someone could rejoice at being forgotten by everyone. Really? She wanted to be remembered by everyone. It must be heartbreaking to have your own family forget about you. And so I had to do as she wanted. Oh God, you better make clear that's what she wants. And so I had to do as she wanted. That's right. Absolutely right. It might have been an excuse, but I didn't think like that in my mind. Wouldn't have come down. I'll head home. I'll go home, get in the bath, and then I'll at least have dinner and wrap myself up in my futon. I had to calm down. I had to calm down. I had to think of what I should do. Or perhaps if I did nothing, things would be fine. I could rest easy. I think that's probably the safest thing to do, actually. In the skyline from across the alleyway, I could see the tall smokestack of the recycling plant that was also used as a landmark for this area. Isn't that kind of redundant? Or rather, that's odd, I think, for a recycling plant to have a smokestack. If I walk that way, I should get a street I'd know or a levee. It was the first time I had walked down that street, although I'd lost my sense of direction. Without letting that anxiety get to me, I walked down that alley. But the alley had many turns and bent in many places. Sometimes like a maze it would branch off, and as if the alleys were playing tricks on me, they would end in mischievous dead ends. Exactly, apparition. The irritation of not finding a street I knew, instead of letting me briefly forget what happened at the apartment building, caused me to curse aloud without restraint. God damn it! Huh? Oh, hello. Hello. Demon Santa. How are you? I see you. What lovely button eyes you have. Odin. Thor's doing pretty well. Big movie star. Loki's got his own TV show. Or Netflix show, rather. You know, your kids are doing great. So he is the one who did the memory shit. Okay. I'm glad I kept playing. In such a narrow alley, I was startled to find in front of me a looming figure standing in my path. The alleyway was so thin, I wasn't able to pass him without bumping into his shoulders. I wasn't curious to try it either. Regardless, the figure in front of me stood idly in this narrow alley, blocking the way. That figure, in contrast with the broken bicycle, the rain-stained washing machine, and the mistreated plants like that lined the alleyway, he didn't seem like he belonged here. My first impression, I felt he was an old British gent from a century ago. With a British gentleman's style, he wore a top hat on his head, a suit of some refined taste, and even had a cane. I couldn't exactly make out his features from under his hat. I could clearly see that he had a well-grown beard, and even a monocle. He didn't look like he belonged in this back alley at all, and it wasn't as if all he was doing anything aside from merely standing, idly by, blocking the street. He didn't seem like he was out for a stroll or to cool off for the evening. No. Rather, he stood fixed facing my direction, looking as if he were expecting me. I started to feel a bit uneasy. Thankfully, there was another street nearby, as I didn't want to pointlessly get near that strange person, pretending as if the wind had somehow carried me onwards. I then turned down the other alley. As long as I could see the recycled plant smokestack and use it like a compass, there was no need to adhere to a specific path. Who was he, though? That man? Rather, if I had seen someone out walking around in their underwear, which would have seemed more natural in this sloppy back alley. Jesus Christ. Are you sure, dude? Like, because I would feel very uncomfortable with that. Then maybe I wouldn't have felt so uncomfortable. But for him to be standing still like that, and to be so utterly obstructive. But, just like what I did earlier, forgetting what happened just now might be for the best. Once I was satisfied cursing, at last I found an alleyway heading in the direction of the smokestack. I turned that way. The neighborhood was beginning to darken, and lights began to glow from inside the houses. Perhaps some were preparing dinner, when the sound of vents, the smell of fried food hung in the air. But even so, without any sign of anyone's presence, this alley was a lonely one. I had taken quite a detour. I had felt as if I had wasted a lot of time. I felt like I had wasted a lot of time. I intended just to make a quick stop on the way home from school, but now it was already getting this dark. Even by the time I left the school, it wasn't particularly early either. Saying it was expected made sense, but even so, I felt it was a little early to be getting dark. Oh, very creepy music. When I saw that figure once again blocking the way, there was no way I was seeing things. It was those characteristic clothes. I couldn't hide my surprise. That elderly British gentleman once again blocked the way. There was no way there was more than one elderly man wearing a strange outfit like that. So then this had to be the man. But is this even possible? I avoided the old man and took a detour through another alley. Even then, what are the odds of coming across the same old man yet again? The old man stood the same as when I had met him earlier. As if he were expecting me, he stood perfectly still, blocking the alley. Because of the wild hat he wore, I couldn't make out his expression. Okay, OA, see you. Bye, OA, have a good time at work. But for some reason he was looking at me. Now I felt he was staring at me. I wanted it to just be my imagination. I couldn't imagine that the old man was waiting for me. Earlier there were sometimes alleys with enough elbow room to squeeze by. But this time there were none. To go forward or to go back, those were my only choices. If I had asked him to please step aside, would he let me pass? By sheer coincidence, I might have just come across the same old man twice. Or perhaps that old man truly was waiting for me. To know for sure, and to escape this strange scenario, there was one simple solution. I could go back and search for a different avenue. If I met him a third time and that old man blocked my way, then that would mean he obviously wanted to speak with me. I had to share words with that mysterious old man. I'd much rather head back the way I came again. Without hesitation, or rather as hesitant as I could be, I turned back. And after looking over my shoulder to make sure the old man wouldn't follow me, I began to hurry away from there. Sorry, but I can't stay in this alley. It's already getting dark. I want to get home quick. I want to go home! Ah! Damn, that was chilling. When my mind understood what was in front of my eyes, chills jumped up my spine. Because, even though I turned my back on him and left, once again, I could see the old man blocking my path. This is impossible. There must have really been two of them. Did they intend to corner me from both sides? What enjoyment could they possibly derive from something so stupid? No, but I can't believe there are two of them, because the man in front of me and the man behind me look the same. I can't believe there'd be two of them, dressed the same like that. Is there any other explanation? Am I supposed to believe that old man just flew past me from behind me at the speed of light? That's not possible! He's not a yokai! Or is he? But the fact that he was once again directly in front of me, obstructing my path, was the undeniable truth. There was no point turning around and running from him again. Even though that was my theory, I've been completely overtaken by fear, so I once again made the choice to turn and run away. Because this time, I was truly afraid. Then when I turned, he was there again, and this time he was closer. The old man continued to block my path. There was no doubt any longer. Every time as I turned around, he was always on the other side. Even as close as the old man's eyes were, I couldn't see them well enough under the shadow of his white hat. But even so, I could tell he was glaring at me. The way he looked at me seemed just like a snake watching a frog. I felt that if I talked to him now, it would mean my defeat somehow. Until I had an opportunity, I couldn't even lift a finger. and when the old man in front of opened his mouth to speak first, I felt relief for a moment.
Well, I suppose it's too late to say good afternoon. Perchance now is a good time to say good evening, my boy.
Oh. Oh. Of course, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
His voice was like I thought an old man's voice should sound like. But it gave the impression of a coherent, healthy old man who was easy to talk to. For some reason, his warm tone seemed like a teacher's. I sensed he might have been a teacher from one of the other classes in school. I thought that was a crazy idea, even though I had just met him thinking he was a teacher or something like that. Nonetheless, based on what little words we exchanged, he gave me the impression that he was a teacher. That idea comforted me. Right before we exchanged simple words, I thought he was like a yokai. There's no way someone can talk to a yokai. Silly Billy. Humans are the ones who need to talk. At least there was no need to be needlessly afraid.
That simply isn't so, old boy. In fairy tales and old stories, on occasion humans exchange words with spirits like Tengu, Kitsune, Oni, and other yokai, and some such. Hey, what?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Even though I didn't say anything, the old man replied as if in response to my inner thoughts.
When being friendly with a pet dog, people talk to them as well. Even if you cannot exchange words, it's possible to communicate with them. If you're talking about sharing words, then there's nothing strange about humans communicating with not just animals, but yokai as well. Hey, what?
I suppose that's possible. I'm sorry. For some reason, I apologized. I felt as if I had been lectured for concluding that humans couldn't communicate with demons. No, that wasn't it. This old man was a yokai, and he was upset that I had mislabeled him.
Well, that's fine, old boy. That's a topic we can have another time, eh, what? It's getting late. If you all don't head home soon, your mother will worry about you.
The old man laughed. Once again, it seemed like as if he was sensing my words before they left my mouth. For some reason, I recalled that mysterious girl. I met that orange tinted hallway in the back of my mind. Oh, the comma's misplaced. For some reason, I recalled that mysterious girl I met in that orange tinted hallway in the back of my mind. Oh no, there was no comma, sorry. I thought there was, because of his hair, but there wasn't. That was my fault. If that girl was something more than human. And surely she must be associated with this old man, I wondered to myself. The old man didn't answer that question in my mind. But if I thought about it, maybe it was obvious.
Oh, now then, Nonamiya-kun. You have a strange camera, don't you?
My heart skipped a beat. It wasn't how the old man knew about the camera. It was how he knew about his name. After all, I'm slowly realizing this camera wasn't of this world. Oh, sorry. And the ones that would know best about this camera were like him. Not of this world. Yes, sir. I have it.
Where did you obtain it, I wonder? In a newspaper club room? Yeah, old boy.
Yes. In the deepest section of the club, where books and equipment are jumbled together.
Oh. That's really quite strange.
Huh?
That camera was oh so securely sealed away. It's not something that's supposed to be found by humans. And how could you have found it? It's so very strange, I wonder. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
I must have been strange to this old man as well. Because there was nothing stranger than being called strange by a man like this.
You don't need to be afraid. I'm not thinking of catching and eating you. After all, you wouldn't have a conversation with your breakfast, hmm? If I intended to eat you rather than talking, I'd be eating.
Ah, he did laugh, yeah. I thought he was laughing in order to help unravel my nerves. But to me, what I heard is that he would rather me eat me rather than talk. Without knowing who this old man was, I didn't know why he came to speak with me. But I wouldn't forget his terrifying presence.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll quickly get to the point, old boy. I want that camera back.
Huh? This is your camera then?
No, no, boy, it's not mine. However, it's not yours either, hmm?
That's right, but haven't I had enough of this mysterious camera? And this is convenient. If I had to hand it over to this man, then I could be rid of it. However, hanging over this magic camera that I discovered miraculously so readily over to the old man seemed wrong somehow. Uh-oh. So I had to ask this. Well, just per chance. What if I don't hand it over? Hearing such challenging words might have seemed pretty disrespectful to him. I should have been more polite. I forgot that, and unconsciously I retreated him like a friend. But I forgot that, and unconsciously I treated him like a friend. Ah. For that moment, I had forgotten he was a terrifying demon. Perhaps thinking he'd be willing to barter something mysterious in exchange for that camera, I had said those words.
Oh, are you saying you refuse then?
Well, no. It's just since I found this camera. If you say what you want, well, then you gotta give me something for it. Uh-oh. It's a lost article, you know? I should at least get a 10% finder's fee. As the sky began to darken, I felt a chill and began to tremble from the sudden cold. I sensed it right when I said those rude words, and I realized it. I realized that I should have chosen my words more carefully. Uh-oh. Exactly when the sun began to set, I looked at the old man. His face was completely covered in pure darkness. I felt that moment of silence would have been scarier than any scream. Oh god, Nonamiya. It's like I'm not really keeping count anymore with the kid thing. I'm just doing it for fun.
Kids these days can't be helped. Can they, boy? If you speak modestly with them, then they misunderstand themselves as equals. Perhaps like in the old days. I'll have to show you how to respect your elders. Huh? Old boy? Takeshi no Namiya-kun?
Then I had this strange delusion. I felt like I was shrinking. No, I felt as if my feet were sinking into a swamp. The old man, the walls too. I watched as they grew taller until even the sun finally disappeared beyond the old man. I realized the mistake I had made all too late. Even though I had no room to negotiate or anything of the sort, I still said something so conceited.
Takeshi no Namiya-kun. Perhaps you need something to light your fire. Oh. Old boy. What do you think you're so no longer think you're such a clever child? I wonder. Takeshi no Namiya-kun.
The old man's gigantic head, with his face swollen in complete darkness, completely blotted out the sky above me. I didn't know whether my legs were shrinking or if I was sinking into the asphalt. I want to find the camera. Someone help me!
This isn't the school you know. Headmaster. Oh my, Higanbana-kun.
Oh, that was Higanbana, okay. This isn't the school you know, Headmaster. When I heard that voice, the spell that had been cast on me disappeared. The old man's gaze locked onto something behind me. I looked behind me, and sitting gracefully atop the wall was that girl I met in the twilight hallway. Okay, so they can leave the school. That's interesting. A cool breeze rustled her beautiful hair and her extravagant skirt. She looked like a western doll that had been brought to life. But at the same time, just like the old man, her being here reminded me of how out of place they seemed in this dirty back alley. Well, I just had a heaping dose of out of place moments ago. Now I'm probably just misunderstanding things. They are not out of place, surely under these circumstances. I'm the one who can't even protect himself, and I'm the one who's out of place here. I am Takeshi no Namiya-kun's friend.
Oh my, is that so? One must take good care of their friends.
Do you intend to lay a finger on him? If I, Higanbana, will become your opponent?
Is that so?
The old man called Headmaster, and the girl called Higanbana, had gentle tones in their voices. But it seemed they clearly had bad blood between them, and that girl called Higanbana might have made herself my ally.
Takeshi no Namiya-kun, Move, or you'll be swallowed up.
Huh? Oh, are we gonna get a battle? Whoa! Oh, that was the girl. Takeshi no Namiya-kun. Move, or you'll be swallowed up. Just as she said, once again I felt my legs sink into a pond. But it wasn't a pond. Oozing and expanding from the feet of the old man known as Headmaster was a pure black shadow. It was like tar, and the humans it swallowed must be pulled into the next world. That feeling I had moments ago wasn't just my imagination. I was truly in the middle of being swallowed. I ran back to the girl named Higanbana. She dropped in front of me and stood in front of the headmaster, blocking his path. For a moment I felt I trusted her, but she was also a terrifying, otherworldly creature. I could sense a terrifying aura seeping from her back. But for now, at least she was my ally. But because of that, I didn't feel I could trust her. Because they just might be fighting like a fox and a badger over me, their prey. How rude. Why can't you just think, thanks so much for protecting me, I wonder. Okay, so they can both read his mind. I'm sorry. I've got to think carefully. They can read my thoughts. There was no maybe about it any longer. They were truly not human.
Don't you think it'll be a futile battle? He'll go.
Oh, so he's one of the higher ranked ones. Oh? Can you really call it a fight, though?
Taking you on at my age, with the way you play, it's exhausting, you know.
Then how about you go home and rest? I'll even spoon feed you some gruel, befitting a bedridden man like yourself. Okay, Boomer?
Perhaps you need something to light your fire. I'm familiar with the legend of the Seven, you see.
That's right. The school's 7 mysteries. It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Hello, Minus. Welcome to the stream. The palm was seeped out like a black shadow from the headmaster's feet, oozed over towards us, and even climbed over the walls. It was as if he was spilling out over a world of darkness from the center of where he stood. And that black pond gradually came to Higanbana's feet. Now this was something truly terrifying, even for Higanbana. If not, then the headmaster wouldn't have moved his pond forward and the like. But Higanbana calmly laughed without making a move. She seemed to be standing there like a fool.
Is it alright if I eat you? Hey, old girl!
That was probably the checkmate declaration. God damn, look at his eye. Once I noticed it, the black male was already at her feet. No, not quite at her feet. It was surrounding her in a space about the size of a manhole. That means that if Higanbana didn't finally surrender, she'd be swallowed up without a second thought. She had seriously provoked him. Even though the headmaster's voice was calm, I think he's mad with rage. After he gets her, just like that, he'll surely come and eat me. If I don't run away right now, use the camera! My legs had slipped out from under me. I couldn't even lift myself up from the ground. And I might not even be able to run away any longer. I mean, look, the sun is set as if to close everything within the shadow of darkness. And around me, all around me that was left was the space the size of a manhole. Because everything had been concealed by the black marsh.
I won't ask again. You know, old boy. Is it all right if I eat you?
Before you eat me, what if I think I'll be seeing you off to the infirmary sooner, Headmaster?
Oh!
Higanbana standing there laughing seemed like sudden death, and this exchange between them must have been just her way of somehow extending her playtime. But as to why she was playing a game that would only make sense during the day, at school was hard to understand. This is a game played by those who control the time after the sun has set on school. Your lazy swamp sure is taking quite some time to get to me, isn't it? I'm bored. I'm faster, you see. Warned for a moment, injured for a lifetime. Yada yada ipso fatso. They won't even be able to put you in the infirmary.
I see. A good proverb indeed. Even a lifetime of injury can result from a moment of carelessness. You see, old girl.
Damn! She got the Beatrice noise, too, for the magic. See? I am that moment. Damn! Certified badass. It happened in a moment, just as she boasted. The inner walls on either side of the headmaster swelled up and erupted from all sides. It was different from an explosion. Swelling up and rupturing free, warped spearheads grew like a monster's claws and wrapped around the headmaster. It seemed for the moment that he was like a bird trapped in a cage of thorns. When I looked closer, I saw there were the iron rods that were inside the concrete walls. Damn! And they had curved outward, and extended, even sharpening their tips into spears. Countless spears surrounded him, aiming at his throat. Maybe now there was no harm in standing up. But for some reason, if I tripped or fell over somewhat, I might land throat first into one of those spears. In other words, I was so completely surrounded by warped spears, I couldn't even move. Of course, looking around Higanbana's feet, it seemed like the same for her. The manhole-sized space that was around her feet was gone. Perhaps there was just enough there to surround the soles of her feet. This was the critical moment for Higanbana. If she changed her stance even slightly, she'd be immediately swallowed up by the pond. There was no doubt they were both on the verge of taking each other's life at this moment.
I like you indeed. You're a troublesome one.
Look for an early retirement, okay? But how about I make you this farewell address?
What's your language, old girl? Otherwise you'll surely bring unnecessary hardships upon yourself, won't you?
Oh? And what if I want to gladly let you make me taste those hardships? Perhaps you can't? Well, then there's no need to watch what I say, is there?
Oh dear, oh dear. Karma. Everything is like the wheel. What you unleash will certainly come back to you. What to unleash will certainly come back to.
Then there's no problem. Aren't we the ones free from all those, from those in that cycle of life and death?
Takeshi no Namiya-kun. Let's ask you. Truth or peace? Which do you value more?
Huh? I hadn't thought I would suddenly be dropped into the conversation. My heart began leaping in my chest. Now, after seeing that otherworldly scene, there was no doubting the truth that there were yokai. And that yokai was once again talking to me.
Perhaps you should choose. Truth. Peace. Which do you value more?
Oh, don't lend him your ear. If you replied with peace, what do you think would happen?
What do you think would happen, eh?
Oh, sorry, that was her. If you replied with peace, what do you think would happen? Huh? Come on. Does he look that trustworthy to you? Well, actually, neither do you, but you did save my life, so... Oh, God.
Higanbana-kun. Cease your trickery. I'm asking him. Well, Takeshi no Namiya-kun, which do you value more?
Truth and peace. What does he mean by having peace in opposition to truth? Perhaps he means denying the truth, therefore having peaceful days through ignorance. My God! How Umineko can this get? Surely ignorance can be bliss, but that can't be a good thing. For humans, even if we don't want to, there are truths we must know. For instance, environmental problem is a good example. If I were to discuss it, surely we'll have to face some restrictions in our lifestyles. But nonetheless, if we pretend we don't know about it and continue our living peacefully, the price will certainly befall the future of humanity. Ryukishi was a man ahead of his time. Jesus Christ, Ryukishi was a man ahead of his time. If only everybody from your generation thought that way, Ryukishi. Haven't I learned that from the life of the newspaper club? If people avert their eyes from the truth, thrusting it at them, we must raise these questions. Marie Moria's photograph certainly was a strange thing. But Marie, who had been caught in that photograph, was forgotten by her classmates and everyone else. Even her own mother. By showing her that photo, her mother remembered. Sure, it might have been something shocking, undertaking the impact of what she'd forgotten until now. I can understand why she would temporarily panic. But Marie Moria must have been happy with that. They had let her remember. She must be rejoicing somewhere. Perhaps she had been swallowed by this demon called Headmaster, and her existence extinguished. and that camera dug up the truth that Marie Moria certainly did exist. It brought back her existence that had been extinguished with the power of the yokai. That's it. When revealed on film, it becomes the truth. Regardless of what might be revealed there, just seeing it invokes that truth. When I saw the power of this mysterious camera with my own eyes, I was certainly terrified. When I think about it, I didn't do anything strange. But what strange was the disappearance of Marie Moria's very existence. That was much worse. With that camera, I tore through the doubt and revealed the truth. I protected the name of Marie Moria. Without even opening my mouth, I created my clear answer. Okay, you guys. I'm gonna put us on a bit of a cliffhanger for today. I think this is a bit of a nice cliffhanger right here. What do you think? In the middle of their battle. This story. Really, James, that is absolutely true. Well, except in Higurashi and Umineko case where they do kind of, the characters, some characters are shared. Yeah, I am tired too, Ji-chan. But this was certainly exciting. So it seems we have our demon antagonist here, the headmaster. This is halfway through. That is absolutely perfect, apparition. Absolutely perfect. This is halfway through the story. Awesome. So until next time, I will say, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. You are all the sweetest of hearts. See ya.